And welcome back. If you're new, I'm David Adams, and this is actually episode 2 of Reading Seth. If you're just finding the channel, be sure to jump back and don't miss episode 1. That said, this time we're going to be checking out a single post that Seth published in February 2002. He was apparently really busy around this time, and this is the only thing that he posted that month. Now, it may have only been one, but you're going to see it's actually a really good one. As always, don't miss the description below. It's got a direct link to this post on his blog, as well as any external links that are mentioned below. If you haven't subscribed, please use the subscribe button to the right, because that's how you actually get notified as more videos are added to the channel. With that, let's jump right into it. This month's post is actually entitled, "Why Do Companies Stick with Their Mistakes?" It was originally published on February 25th of 2002.
Sorry I haven't blogged in a while. I've been traveling, which is the inspiration for this piece. No one is perfect, and no company avoids every mistake. But why do companies make mistakes and then do nothing to get rid of them? Let me propose 5 reasons. The people who make the policies don't actually work in the field.
Interestingly, I wrote a post that's entitled, "Your Process Stinks," that really speaks to this reality. I'll include a link to it below as well for you to check it out. But I make this very point that people who don't have a problem or have never experienced it are really ill-equipped to actually identify a solution to it.
The people in the field aren't given the ability to influence management without appearing to be troublemakers.
This is usually one of those cases when you always hear management say, "Don't bring problems, bring solutions." But typically, this is a situation where the solution is actually changing a decision that they themselves made.
Customers aren't encouraged to speak up, and their suggestions are ignored. It's easier to make a policy than to undo it.
Oh yes, this is the classic problem of change agents who love to identify changes that you should make. Again, this goes right along with Your Process Stinks when you guys read it.
Business is complicated, and unless you come up with a clever way to measure the impact of a decision, it's often difficult to tell if it's going to be a good idea or not.
I've seen this one rampant still to this day. I mean, if you don't know how you're going to measure the result, do you really know the outcome of what you expect? And if you don't know the outcome of what you expect, how do you know what changes you're going to make?
I thought of all the reasons as I flew from one airport to another in the last few weeks. My heart goes out to the folks working in the airline industry. They are brave and stalwart folks, and they deserve far more credit than they're getting. I also completely support our efforts to make flying safe. That said, I think the airline security issue is an amazing analogy for what's wrong at most companies. Your company? First, it's obvious that most of us aren't encouraged to speak up about security at the airport. To do so would be a troublemaker or even unpatriotic. Just as a company can build a culture that makes it hard to criticize a decision from headquarters, it's been made clear to us that experts are in charge and we should shut up and support any efforts to stop bad guys from flying. But experts aren't in charge. Many of the decisions are getting implemented are nothing but superstitions. One person decides that nail clippers are dangerous but ballpoint pens are not, and airports all over the country begin to confiscate nail clippers. There is no system in place to measure whether or not this policy is effective, whether or not it is worth the thousands of dollars and thousands of hours and millions of dollars it costs to enforce it. Without a way to measure the effect, we cannot be confident the policy will last for a long time. Today's USA Today says that a whistleblower is accusing the FAA of failing to follow up on security tests and ignoring bad results when they do perform tests. Has that ever happened at your company?
We all see this every day. Why are you doing X? I don't know. Does X make the product better or make it easier to create or deliver it? I don't know. Or worse, no, it actually takes me another 2 days to follow the process, and every client that I've ever spoken to doesn't care about it. Why don't you quit doing it? Because it's the process.
Because there's no consistent measuring system, we also discover obvious discrepancies across the system. In Montrose, Colorado, your shoes are x-rayed and you need to remove a fleece sweater if it has a zipper. In New York, however, shoes are fine, as are sports coats and fleeces of any kind. At one airport, the guards confiscated all Duracell batteries but allowed much larger laptop batteries through. Why? Because of superstition. Because there was no measurement system. Because the person who invented the policy wasn't standing there discovering whether or not it was working or not. It seems pretty obvious to me that if it's important to x-ray shoes in Colorado, it's important to do it in New York. One last example and one suggestion. In New York, you can walk through security with an open bottle of Pull and Spring water in your hand. You have to take a sip to prove it's not acid or something. But why wouldn't a bad guy just put a bottle in his carry-on? I know I'm not supposed to ask because that will be undermining the system, but come on. And my suggestion, here you go. Let's put an email address on every x-ray machine in the country. Have it say, do you know how to make security screening better? Drop us a line. Imagine hundreds of thousands of very smart business people, all travelers, all security experts or consultants or whatever, constantly upgrading the system by giving feedback advice, detecting errors, or increasing consistency. Imagine that both the person making the suggestion and the operator reading it would get a bonus every time a suggestion is made through it and it was put into action. I could send a note praising the speed, thoroughness, and kindness of the woman who patted me down, or describe 3 ways to make the system at West Palm Beach go more smoothly. The system would evolve fast. Hey, it might even work at your company. But why is an obvious idea like this, evolving fast with fast feedback loops based on data, so hard to swallow? Because managers like to make decisions. Because managers like to be right. Because employees have been trained to want the manager to make the decision and to want stability in the policies they work with.
Quick aside, this quote struck a nerve with me. More on this when we get to my observations that's soon to follow.
As our world goes faster, we need to evolve faster. If we don't, the competition will. While we're talking about evolution, note that Richard Proctor wrote a super nice review of my new book in the Miami Herald today.
Seth's point about managers liking to make decisions and to be right, it really hit home when I read this. The complete story of why it did is actually posted on my blog as well. In a blog post that's entitled Waiting for a Sandwich. I'll include a link to that below as well. In a nutshell, I experienced the consequences of teaching employees to want someone else to make their decisions for them firsthand. It was in the midst of a situation I was extremely frustrated for about 3.7 seconds until it hit me that this is my fault. Instead of teaching them to make decisions and take actions, I've just been teaching them to stay hungry and wait on someone else, me, to make them a sandwich, make a decision. Keep in mind that this post is published on February 25th of 2002. Seth has published another one almost the exact same topic 16 years later. Feedback loops, measurability, they're just as relevant today as they were back in February 2002 because organizations are still struggling with the exact same issue. How do we break down our problems? How do we craft solutions for them? How do we determine how do we measure results to determine if our solutions should continue, should they evolve, or should they simply be replaced? These are extremely high value add skills that we need to develop and practice for ourselves. Even better, these are skills that we need to infuse into our people so that we can actually promote real growth in our businesses. Well, this is it for episode 2. And I want to say thanks for checking out the channel. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below. And don't forget the subscribe button is going to be to your right. I always like the comments and feedback. Definitely add something, and let me know if something touched a nerve for you. Listen, stay tuned. Episode 3 is going to be coming up, and it's going to have posts from March 2002, and it's soon to be released. Hey, again, I'm David. This is Reading Seth, and I'll see you next time.